Are we ready to, is, yeah, thank you. Okay, thanks. Good morning again. I tell you what, it's dull here in the southwest of England. But anyway, I'm in, so I'm not going to get wet, guys. Don't worry. Anyway, Angelica, how are you? Good morning.
I am very well, thank you. Good morning, Steve.
So, tell everybody about yourself.
Right, okay. Well, my name is Angeelika Breukers. I am a trauma-informed speaker, workshop facilitator, and mentor slash coach. And what I do is I help people with my ABC Change for Life program to overcome challenges that are from far back as childhood or more recently. And the reason I have developed this program is because of my own personal experience. I written a little book which is called Free to Be Me, and I shared the landmarks in that little book that I have been through. And when you think the title Free to Be Me, I look pretty free now, I would imagine. But there was a time where I wasn't free at all. And that was because I was born into domestic violence. My father was an alcoholic. So not really the perfect childhood to grow up in that environment. From the age of 5, he started to sexually abuse me. And fast forwarding a little bit, when I was 9 years old, he told me that when I grow up, I'll be working as a prostitute to make him a lot of money. So he planted the seed. And I don't know, but if you're aware, but when the seed is planted, then this is what we reap. But I didn't plant it, he did. I believed him, like I believed him there was Father Christmas. So subconsciously, I believed him again. So I actually attracted the man into my life that introduced me to that profession. And I worked as an escort for many years in London. So let's fast forward again. Is then I left him 2 years later. I was in a job in the city working for an IT company because while I left him, I tried to learn new skills and always looking for new opportunities. I was literally walking the streets of London because those days you had little cards in the shop and they would say, oh, looking for a receptionist or looking for an admin person. And because I speak German, I thought, that's great, I'm going to use my language. And that didn't quite work because I was a bit worried about what question would they ask me and would I have the answer. So what happened is at a friend's dinner party, I actually, a friend said, are you still looking for a daytime job? And I said very quickly, yes. So the parrot within me or on the shoulder couldn't say, what do you think you're doing? You can't do that. So that's how I got the job working in the city. And that was my change of life where I was entered in the corporate world and stayed there for many, many years. But somehow I wasn't really getting up the ladder and didn't know why. I always had best reviews. And then in 2002, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. So that explained a lot. And I could let go of the memory when I was in school. I had it in writing. In those days, children, they got named and slapped in front of the class. And I actually had it in writing in a school report. She tries very hard and she can't do it. So it gave me hope that I actually can do certain things. I just had to learn new skills again. So then the time came, I had enough of the corporate world, and I actually became a Bowen therapist and did that for 14 years, helping people with stress, tension based problems, and pain relief. It affects the emotional body and realignment on all levels. And I love doing that. And I still do it from time to time, if needed, helping somebody. So, been doing that for 14, 15 years, I decided that I don't want my experience to go to waste. That's why I have created the ABC Change for Life program, which the ABC stands for acceptance, belief plus choice equals change. It's in a way back to basics because we have to accept what has happened or hasn't happened. Maybe you and the listeners are familiar with the serenity prayer, where it says, God, give me the strength to realize this and to change. But I know I can change, and not the situations that I can't, because literally what has happened in the past, we can't change. We just have to embrace it and make it part of us. I tried for many, many, many years to push the part about my past away from me. But I learned I actually had to integrate it because it's part of me. And the reason I wanted to push it away all the time is the shame that came with it. And shame is it's a terrible prison. And we feel shame because of the things that have been done to us. And we also feel guilt. So by integrating what has happened and accepting, because we can't change it, it's a fight that no one will win if you fight against the past. So we have to work with it. And then the second one is to believe, values and beliefs. Some of them that are given to us. I was giving lots of beliefs that actually were not mine, and there were not positive beliefs. Is you not worthy? They make me feel like I am not worthy. I am not good enough. And yes, one has to examine what we think, and therefore the action that we take. I'm not an imposter. I am good enough, and I am worthy. So C is for choice. Yes, we have a choice. We always have a choice. Always, even when we think that we haven't. Even realizing the awareness when at difficult times is I don't know what to do. We still have a choice just to sit down and stay with ourselves and see what our higher self and our soul brings up for you. There's always a solution. And if we can do that, then, and breathing is very important, because when we feel we don't have a choice and fear kicks in, we start to breathe faster, and our mind runs away with us and creates a picture that actually is not real. And so then we just do very shallow breathing, which is just here above the rib, by the rib cage, which is sort of like the short breathing of fight and flight, and it makes us worse. So we have to breathe deep down and keep reading, and we see what comes up for you, because the answer is always within us. It is not necessarily outside of us. And these 3 steps, they equals change.
Let's go back from the beginning, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
No. Yeah, that's okay. Absolutely.
Okay. So when you were going through in your younger years, you were going through all the abuse and everything. Because you said something about your dad and everything. Um, what did your mum? Did you ever tell your mum, or did you tell anybody else about what was
No,
happening?
No, nobody else in the family was aware, and my immediate family was busy with surviving and coping themselves. You see, when women and men, when they're children and they are in a position like that, you can't even express what's going on. And also, I was told from the first day when he touched me inappropriately, you are my girl now, and you mustn't tell anybody. And, a couple of years later, well, if you tell anybody, when I had enough and was fighting back, he's like, well, they won't believe you anyway. So we're going back a very long time. Today, now it's still there that it is hard for children and young adults to speak up because especially as a child, you just can't comprehend. It's too much. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on a bit more. Then you kind of you said that you were an escort in London.
Hmm.
I, I just can't kind of get my head around it because were you made to be an escort or were you a
Right.
people person?
Yeah. Good question. So what it was, I didn't want to be an escort, but what did happen is because of the experience with my father, it seemed like he prepared me for this. And he told me so. You see, this terrible belief that that was my future was in my subconscious mind. So yeah, this must be it. But most of all, I wanted to be loved. I met the man that introduced me this to profession, and I wanted to be loved. He said, "When if you do this for, if you love me, you do this for me." And so it is a very sad thing. But I thought, if I do this, then I will be loved.
Yeah, but if you're loved, if you're in a if if he loved you and you loved him, you surely you won't have sex with anybody else.
Well, yes, but I didn't know what it was like to be loved. I was not loved by my father the real way. How children, I did not grow up the way that you nurtured and the loving that you're supposed to be getting and to feel safe and protected. It was the total opposite. It was used, I was used and abused. And when you grow up in that environment, you don't know what real love is. You think this is the norm. This is what happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
But
just don't know.
when you were right, so when you had your client and they paid you, who used to have all the money? Was it you or him?
It was him.
So if it was him, so really you were doing it to be loved for yourself and you were doing it love to kind of like please him.
Yeah, I was doing it to be loved. There are many women that go into the escort business and because they choose to. I didn't choose to completely by myself like that. I thought I had to do it to be loved. So some women go in there, they make some money, they need some money, and then they leave.
Yeah, but you didn't though, did you?
Pardon? I can't hear you, Steve.
What sorry, when you went into the escort business, you never made no money because he had it.
No, I didn't. Yeah, that's right. So, it's doubly kind of worse in a way. But, he was a very manipulative man and, yeah, living in fear. And I know from
Could you walk away from it? Couldn't you
I
say,
did, I did, I
yeah,
did.
I know that, but couldn't you say, because you could see what was happening? And, I'm not trying to ask you some cool questions here. Sorry, I'm well known for this. But
Yes.
sorry for kind of like asking you this. But
Yeah.
say if you were the escort, so you're an escort, and if you had different men at one particular time, just say, right? I don't know if you did, yeah? The trouble is, at that point, right, when you're in a relationship and all of a sudden you're having sex with other people, right, that's abuse
Yeah,
because you're not given consent.
it's kind of self-abuse. Yeah. And you asked the question, why didn't you leave? Well, there were many factors involved. I was in a country that was not my home country. Fear of what would happen to me. It's like similar when it's when a woman lives in domestic violence. Some people think, well, why don't these women leave? Well, they can't leave because courage and taking a positive step has been kind of almost beaten out of them.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can understand that, but
Yeah. And it's the similar thing with what happened with me. After being, living in such a toxic environment, it's just a process where you come to the point where you say, right, that's it. I'm leaving him and I'm out of here.
mm, mm.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Oh no, I'm not saying it does, but what I'm trying to say,
Mm.
what I'm trying to say, you know, at some point you must have thought, what the heck is he having all this money for? He must be paid, getting
Yeah,
paid.
absolutely. Yeah.
You know
I
what I mean?
Mhm. I had plans, I was like, kind of, come on, let's do this, let's do that. But it never happened. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
buying a property, doing this, doing that. And somehow, yeah, he's very manipulative, and something else always happened, which was more his way than my way.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and yes, of course, it's you wake up one day and it's like, well, this is not love. This is just abuse and use. And
Because it was in London too, because you
mm,
were in London, this was happening around London. You must
mm.
have had some clients who were kind of probably like, I don't know, businessmen, MPs. I know you're not allowed to tell me.
No, and that is not what my interview is about. That is part of my life. This is where I have been through, and I have no interest in talking about who, what, where. It's not for what I do and what I want to do is not relevant.
Yes,
This
I know
is
that. Yes, okay,
yeah,
okay. I'm so sorry about that.
yeah,
And I was just trying to get a picture of what you've been through. That was all. I'm
yeah.
so sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's okay because it's like, yeah, there is a lot of people that maybe think, oh, this and that, but in a way, it's not important. That is what happened. Is what happened. It's in the past, and
Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on.
mhm.
So when you kind of like you've been through all this and you're getting on your journey, when did the and you went into corporate business and everything, and you thought and all of a sudden wasn't climbing that ladder. Um, you put. I bet you have felt really because everything else happened in the past and everything. I bet you felt really, really low and depressed that you weren't getting anywhere.
Well, yeah, it's been, the fear kicks in, and fear stands for false emotions appearing real. You paint the picture, and yes, in and out of depression, of feeling the despair, feeling the pain of the past, because what happens is that the when you have an experience and you get a trauma, and the word trauma needs to be de-traumatized. It's one, trauma means a wound, and you wound it, and at that time you wound it, and you get triggered in your life. So because the event has happened many years ago, but the way you felt at the time is still with you. So you feel you still have these feelings that are triggered. And yes, there is depression, and there was depression, and a lot of deep sadness. And what helped me is that I was always looking for opportunities and learning to deal with that.
Brilliant. Look, I haven't got. I'd love to talk to you more. I'd love to talk to you more because I've got lots to talk to you about. Kind of like I want to hear your story. But
Hmm.
so I'd love to have you booked in, and I promise you, I won't touch anything more about your past and everything. I want to talk
Yeah,
about the future. So
yeah,
is that all right?
yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Okay. Bless you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your story.
You are
And
welcome.
we'll get you booked in again. I'll get my wife to book you back in again.
Okay.
And God bless you, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.